Yeah, looks like we are going. Hey, we're figuring this out. Little by little, we're figuring this thing out. This is the first time, uh, putting a stream on the channel since in the football season. We were trying to do, games every Sunday, trying to get on here and talk with you guys during the games. And my laptop just couldn't handle it. Now we're at a point. I was able to get a PC recently, so we're at a point, excuse me, where we can finally go live on the channel. Okay, there's some more things I need to figure out. I do want to play games on here like Madden, even thinking about downloading one of the old Maddens, that I can get for free. And then in the future, when the next Madden comes out and NCAA comes out, I'd like to play those on channel. So we're going to continue trying to figure this thing out. But for the moment, got this figured out. Want to go through a Sunday stroll, right? Going through the things that we haven't talked about. And it's not a whole lot going on right now. This past week we talked about Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs. Those are the guys that we've gone through on the offensive side as going through their tape and trying to see and project what their stats are going to be in the 2024 season. That's what we've done. And through all that, there's really not a whole lot of news. So what we're going to talk about here is a couple things. One, we're going to start with something we're going to look forward in the future. Next, we're going to talk about, just something I saw real quick about one of our draft picks. And then we're going to finish talking about one of our division rivals. So, where I want to start with this conversation is going to be some stuff that we're going to be doing in the future. Again, as I continue to learn this live streaming thing and figuring out the different software and how things work, and how I can get different things plugged into the stream and be able to show it to you guys. The Colts have a 4-part series coming out. And just actually, this is coming out tomorrow. If you're seeing this, I don't know when you're seeing this. It starts on June 24th. It's called The Move. Episode 1 is Baltimore. Episode 2, Indianapolis. Episode 3, Mayflower. Episode 4, Aftermath. Okay, in a 4-part series coming out a week apart. This is going to take us almost to training camp. The last episode comes out July 15th. These are things that I'd like to talk to you guys about. Things that I think is going to be really interesting. Like, as for me, I'm a student of the game. I'm a nerd, especially about the Colts. I'm gonna love to hear all the details about this. Maybe we get some in-depth information on things that maybe weren't previously known. So it'll be interesting to see what happens during the move. But I'm gonna want to watch that with you guys. I want to do like a watch along and a react kind of thing. Again, because I'm able to have the streaming thing, I just need to be able to figure out how to get that on the screen, and then we'll be able to do it. So hopefully we're able to get something with that. I think that's going to be really good. The Colts production team generally does a really good job on things that they do. You think about the what's behind the pick or something like that, whatever they do in the off season, they have different productions that they do. And they always do a really good job, specifically on the draft. Their draft coverage over the last couple of years, the different things that we've been able to see from inside the war room and the different reactions has been really good from the Colts team. So, I expect the move thing to be really good. I expect it to be something that a lot of people are talking about, especially in a time again where there's really just not a whole lot going on at all in the NFL world, not just in Colts world. This is the NFL. There's not a whole lot going on. Everybody on vacation. Nobody's in the building right now. So, with nothing going on, it's going to be really nice to have a little bit of content coming from the Colts media team. But the next thing I want to talk about here again, one of our draft picks. Okay, talking about Leatu Latu and the comparison to Miles Garrett. And I thought this was interesting because coming out, I thought Miles Garrett was going to be incredible, and he ended up being incredible. Like, if he plays for 14, 15, 16 years and continues to put up really good numbers, like, this is a guy we're talking about, potential Hall of Fame kind of guy, like a freak of nature human, incredible athlete, incredible defensive end. And Latu, it's just when I saw these together, I just thought it was very interesting, right? You look at the comparison of these guys in college. Latu had a 21% pass rush win rate, whereas Miles Garrett, 19.5. Now, both of those are high. Those are good numbers right there, right? I mean, both of them basically at every 1 out of 5 pass rushes, they're getting home, or at least putting pressure on the quarterback. That's something that the Colts need right there, right? You have one guy doing that on the Colts defensive line. Then DeForest Buckner, he's going to have his. You have Samson Ebicom, he's going to have his, right? These other guys are going to have their opportunities. So that pass rush win rate, that's what we're really wanting, is more consistency in that area. Latu should be that kind of guy. He also had more sacks, 23 and a half, compared to Miles Garrett, who had 21. And of course, one of these guys was medically retired for multiple years and then came back and was an absolute monster. Okay, now the other parts of this graphic are tackles for loss, where, excuse me, where Latu is at 34 and Miles Garrett was at 34 and a half. So basically the same in terms of that. But forced fumbles, Miles Garrett is at 7, Latu at 5. So maybe one thing you work on with Latu is, hey, man, when you get home, don't, it's, yeah, you're going to hit the quarterback, go for the ball. Knock the ball out of his hands. Give us a chance to pick that ball up and score, or give the ball back to the offense, one or the other, right? In that instance, it doesn't really matter. Latu needs to get, and that reminds me of Robert Mathis, and I feel like that's what we need. We need that guy like Robert Mathis. Yeah, was an incredible pass rusher, but Robert Mathis was also somebody who was constantly looking to knock the ball out. Like if he was coming around and that ball was up there, he was trying to knock it out of the quarterback's hands. And I think Latu is going to be an incredible pass rusher, but those are the kinds of things, right? Helping create turnovers. That's what you want to see from the young edge rusher. So talking about that, and then talking about the Trevor Lawrence contract, something that on this channel we hadn't covered yet. And I just wanted to get my opinion out there. It's something that I've heard a lot of different people talk about. I've heard all the different things, why it is a good idea, why it wasn't a good idea. And at the end of the day, you look at the highest paid QBs in the NFL on a per year basis. You have Trevor Lawrence, 55 million, Joe Burrow also 55 million, Jared Goff at 53, Justin Herbert 52 and a half, Lamar Jackson 52, Jalen Hurts 51. Excuse me. The most passing yards in first 3 seasons, Trevor Lawrence comes in at number 5, which is behind Burrow, him and Burrow again, making the same amount of money. So, Trevor Lawrence, there's stats for it, there are stats against it, one way or the other. Like you can take this any way you want, this conversation, and there are always going to be stats for and against different things. But at the end of the day, like for the Jaguars, you look at the Jaguars and their history so far, the different quarterbacks that they've had, like for them, it's worth paying Trevor Lawrence. And I get it. As a Colts fan, yes, the Jaguars are a division rival, blah, blah, blah. When it comes to other teams, I'm pretty objective. I understand my bias for the Colts. I'm pretty objective against all other teams, like even the Patriots, right? Even the Chargers. Doesn't matter. I'm objective against these teams because that's fair, right? I feel like I just need to be realistic. And when I'm realistic about Trevor Lawrence, he's a guy that coming into the NFL, I talked about multiple times and to a lot of people, like, hey, this is the guy. Like he's the chosen one. He was always gonna be a guy in the NFL. This was always gonna happen. Right. And we're at a point now where that's being questioned. And I don't know yet if it's because there's not enough around him. But when you look at what he had last year, right? Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, obviously Travis Etienne is there, like, and the offensive line got better for him. So is it worth it? I don't know. But as a Colts fan, they're giving so much money to this one guy, right? So much money to Trevor Lawrence. And I don't know at this point. I think my perspective on him has changed so much. I don't think he's the chosen one. I don't know if he's ever going to be a guy that wins a championship, especially in a place like Jacksonville. Is it possible? potentially. I'm sure there were a lot of people used to think Indianapolis is a place that would never win a championship, and we were able to get it done and went back and then Peyton, threw the interception. But when you really look at this situation as a Colts fan, my reaction to this was jubilation. I'm glad that Trevor Lawrence got paid. Okay. I'm cool with all the players getting paid. When it comes to that, I'm with it. Especially when another team is throwing $55 million a year to Trevor Lawrence. I'm cool with it. What's Trevor Lawrence won for him to be worth that? Right now, what he can do in the future, that's what he's getting paid for, is for what he's going to be able to do in the future. How do they build that team around him? Right? Brian Thomas Jr., I'm not going to back down from what I said in the offseason leading up to the draft. We talked about Brian Thomas Jr. on this channel. I told you guys that I'm a big Brian Thomas Jr. fan. I think he's going to be exceptional in the NFL. Year one might not be the best receiver out of this draft class, but coming out of this draft class, I expect him. I mean, there were a lot of really good wide receivers, but I wouldn't be surprised if Brian Thomas Jr. is top 5 in this draft class when it's all said and done. I wouldn't be completely surprised if he was top 3 in this draft class. I think he's really good. And having Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball, like this could be the connection Trevor Lawrence needed, was getting a guy like this, right? Christian Kirk, somebody that when he came to the Jaguars, right, went to the Jaguars for $18 million a year. A lot of people were saying, oh, overpaid. They overpaid. And in my mind, I was sitting there like, I don't think these people watch football. Like, watch Christian Kirk and watch his tape from the Cardinals. Christian Kirk's always been that dude. Right? Like the ideal number 2 wide receiver. He can do a lot of things really well. He can play in different parts of the field. He can run routes in the short, intermediate, and the deep. Right? Christian Kirk is a guy. So, yeah, Trevor Lawrence, hey, listen, this might work out for the Jaguars. This might be exactly what the Jaguars needed. What they wanted to have happen was paying Trevor Lawrence. It's a lot of money. Again, hey, they're talking about, a new quarterback club. That's the conversation that came up. So, in my opinion, again, as a Colts fan's reaction to this, I love it. Give a bunch of money to him. That's going to limit what they're able to do, especially if they're just going to continue to build on the offense. Jaguars defense should be more susceptible to being killed by the Colts offense. Everything that we have to offer on offense in the near future, Jaguars aren't going to be able to stop us, and we're going to be putting up 50 points a game on the Jaguars. That's what that tells me. Now, we will be in the same situation with Anthony Richardson in the future, assuming he's able to stay healthy, of course, and he ends up getting the bag. When he's ready to get paid, it could be at $65 million a year for quarterbacks, right? It just keeps climbing and climbing. That number keeps going. So, but I think the difference there, and again, the bias that I realized toward my own team, but like Anthony Richardson is different. I think Anthony Richardson, his abilities with how ready he looked coming in, sheesh, excuse me. And again, how ready he looked coming in, I think surprised everybody, right? I expected him to be good coming in. I expected there to be more of a learning curve. He came in looking very good. So, in my opinion, I think the Colts are going to be better suited for Super Bowls in the future with everything that we have. Right? A.D. Mitchell just got drafted. Josh Downs got drafted with AR. We have Pittman. We have Taylor. Like, we have so much good young talent. They're starting to build that defense through the draft. If those guys on defensive side can stay healthy, I think the Colts are in a really good spot for the future. The Jaguars, on the other hand, I think tied themselves to a quarterback that at the end of the day, for whatever reason, whatever it is, at least right now can't get it done. Could there be a shift in that? Sure. Right? Peyton Manning at the beginning of his career couldn't get it done. Not only couldn't get it done, was getting smoked. Okay, I just recently watched a video about the early 2000s run in the NFL and realized how like the Jets smacked the Colts like 41-0. The Patriots smacked the Colts. First time Tom Brady started in the NFL, the Colts got beat like 44-13 by the Patriots. Like Peyton Manning used to get smacked up all the time, specifically in the playoffs. Comes out, wins a Super Bowl, ends up winning another Super Bowl. A lot of playoff success once he figured it out. Can Trevor Lawrence figure it out? We'll have to see. For $55 million a year, Jaguars better hope he can. As Colts fans, we better hope he can't. I don't know if he's going to be able to, which again is why I'm okay with the Jaguars tying themselves to this anchor and letting the ship sink with it. Okay, so I'd love, of course, to know what your guys' opinion of this is. You let me know down in the comment section everything we talked about here, right? Again, we have the move coming up, man. Some good content. The Colts always do really good. I'm excited for that one, man. It comes out tomorrow. I'm going to tinker around with some stuff and try to figure out how I can watch it with you guys, right? Be able to watch that video with you guys, react to it in real time. We're going to figure this thing out soon enough. Going to be playing Madden and college football. So, man, if you're not subscribed, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, have notifications turned on so you continue to get notified when these videos come out. I see that there are definitely some people watching here. I appreciate you guys coming, spending some time with me this Sunday. This is something I want to do more of going forward in the future. Just had to see if it was working right. Now, as far as I can tell, I think it's working right. There's nobody in the chat telling me that the audio is not on. The video looks okay from what I can see. So, again, appreciate you guys for tapping in, man. I love you guys. Love doing what I do. So, I'll talk to you guys in the very near future. And, of course, take care of yourself. Take care of each other.